Welcome to another day where we're going to vibe code as much as we can. And today we're going to remember it's not about the programming language, it's about um, what we're gonna do. Okay. Um, Please do let me know if my music is too loud. And all right. So let us start with what we're gonna be building, right? So let's bring up some tools. And we know I'm going to be using Copilot CLI today, just because I realize that directly Cloud Code has been not, uh, I hit the limits too fast. And I think I'm going to try that tool simply to see how far we can take it. Now, for my meta tool, I have this. I'm going to use also Gemini CLI, but for a different reason. So let's set up our tool in here, and let's go here. Okay. And I might use anti-gravity too. I feel like they're kind of like frameworks. And let's set up more shipping. Those are the promises. I'm using Windows. Okay. So first, I'm going to also have this self-built system that well, first question is we're gonna say when I click on the add task button, it flickers the modal but does not work. So you have to make sure that works. Okay, now this is going to be our meta application that's going to handle our planning and everything and documentation. So, and then the rest is going to come later. So without further ado, let's go into our folder, and which is robot call. Let's create a new tab. Okay. I've started from scratch, so you can know. And we're gonna call it robocall. And what's going to be our first? Okay. Like I said, yesterday was. So what would be our first prompt to the system? I think we have to tell it to. Do we start with the plan or do we start with the setup and scopes for the CLI agent to almost like a bootstrap script? We're using Windows. So, well, let me just verify a few things. Can you see my screen? And we're gonna call this project robot call. Let's just say hi. We are going to work with Laravel today. What is the latest version of Laravel in 2026? PHP is actually still pretty solid, despite I think Next.js. So what happens with PHP? It has you know, it has this corpus, this body of knowledge that has been there for what 30 years now or less, and I think that's the advantage. Okay, so well, I do want to check my audio. I just want to make sure, you know, that what's coming out is good. You know, that my voice is coming out well, or is the music gonna come out well. So that's gonna be kind of like the plan that I'm gonna be doing for a few seconds. Just a sound check, okay? So going to use these tools. We are going also to use Laravel, okay? Laravel 11 is going to be our other tool. If the music is too loud, please let me know, okay? And you know, training has already exist for these projects, so we're not going to worry about a lot of those extra details, okay? For now. So what we're gonna be doing is mainly focusing on some other of the most important parts. So now, what would be our first prompt, our seed prompt? Um, we're gonna continue our streak, and we're gonna have our first line, which is what are you? And we're gonna say and we're gonna use SQLite, okay? All right. So I'm going to start, and this is our first. So you notice what I'm doing here is I'm not doing it myself. I'm letting the agent install it for me, because if something is wrong, it will kind of detect it. So while this is running, I'm going to go to my other uh, project, and okay, so it's running. Let's see what about here. Okay, still running. While this is running, I'm going to showcase our other project that is going to help us develop this particular project. So remember, uh, we have the showcase. Okay, look at that. We have this screen that we're working on, and what we want. We have a file upload system. We have a documentation. Now, what do we do? Okay, so I think you can create another poster that will kind of show talking points and basic principles. So this one is more like a text, maybe like a slide kind of thing. Okay, let us test our application. Right, let's refresh. Let's go to workspace. Let's go to our board. Let's see if we can add a new task. And we're gonna say, what should we do here? Create the initial spec. So we're gonna say this specification is an outline, like a table of content. That is the first attempt at knowing what we are supposed to do. Save, and there you go. Can I drag and drop? I can drag and drop. All right. So we're gonna create the initial spec. When I click on it, it should open. Okay, so this is going to be another endpoint that we're going to have. So let's see what this has come up with. All right. Okay, I'm going to tell it. I'm going to feed you some data that is going to be kind of like you can adapt it, of course, to our workflow. You will extract the main parts and assign them to their own individual routes. So what should go in the brain should go in the brain, so that we can search it. What should go into tasks, we go to tasks under our workspace and only workspace that we have. And what should go in other parts of the system, documentation. I think maybe we're gonna have a workspace also for documentation. So this is gonna be that. So copy our first workspace and we'll tie it to our kind of thing. So our workspace is the top root, and we can have like those elements, docs, maybe the brain stays general, but the other things maybe are more under that workspace. So you see, I'm not keeping. All right. So let me show you my other side, which is kind of like exactly what I'm doing on this edge. I'm using Gemini to efficiently kind of come up with a payload. Okay. This is a general, so the plan is not going to be exactly. It's like almost like a conversation. We're not jumping. You see, I haven't written a single line of code yet, aside from this. And so I'm gonna say next time I run, what should happen here? Is it going to be uh, what is it going to happen here? Okay, so in the next here, we're going to grab this. Let's copy and paste this, and I'm going to go into Copilot, and I'm going to just paste it here. Let's see what it comes up with. In the meantime, whatever change that I have, I'm going to go into this. I haven't reviewed it yet, so I'm going to tell it to stage everything. All right, and well, sometimes if you guys have any questions, you can ask me. Okay, so we're trying to automatically generating the commit message. We accept. You know what Git is? Okay. So now let's go back to our application. So we have this and drag and drop as we want. Let's try to add a second pass. Let's see what our AI is doing. Okay. I'm going to say no. And I'm going to say, okay, let's actually see what it comes up with. Okay. Because sometimes we have to give it some leeway. And so for now, our other principles that we're going to talk about is kind of these principles that Gemini has generated for me. Remember, it's documentation first, and we have we save token. We save tokens. We The AI is doing the low-level implementations, but we make sure that we are driving it. And so this is another important thing that we have to keep in mind. Okay. Now let me run this command and let's see what Laravel has come up with. It says, uh, okay, I would rather convert this into PowerShell. And current dir is root. Okay, and then now Remember with this, I'm going to stop. I'm going to start again. See if I don't have to run any migrations. So I'm using .NET, and I know do I have some. Okay, we don't no longer need this, but let's search for basic principles. Okay, basic principles that will help us develop the application. We will ask it, you know, you can simply ask it calendar development pitfalls. Okay, and then calendar from a programming point of view. Okay, we're not gonna waste time. First thing we have to do is um, 20 minutes in, we're gonna have to start having some code generated. Okay, how do I run it? Now on the other side, okay, well, let's see when you go into our URL, and we're gonna go to our workspaces, Laravel calendar. Okay, let's see our board. This is our board. Okay, so I'm gonna tell this now that you would summarize what you've done and what part of our system would you record that so that next time we launch a session, we kind of have a state of what we're working on, our intent, so we can keep going. We can load that data and then we can continue development. Okay, so this is our server that's running. I'm going to create a new tab here. I'm going to split it at the bottom and I'm going to Copilot. Remember, we're using Copilot. And we just type the name in. And yeah, that's version 0.38. In fact, let's actually see what this application is doing in terms of development. We're gonna go on GitHub, and so far, let's see what issues people have reported on GitHub Copilot, because that's important. Oh, fail to list models, request entity too large. So it's very early, and look at how many bugs or issues. Let's go type. Let's see bugs. What bugs have people discovered here on GitHub Copilot? Uh, well, there are some things here. Okay, so let's see what our thing is doing. See, we have successfully generated our plan to develop the app. Remember, it's an app that's going to build itself in a way. So now, our most important part is the brain. Let's see what our brain is doing. Well, we have a tech stack, and it knows constraints, and we're getting some kind of, our brain is growing. In fact, click on synthesize memory. I hope it doesn't, let's refresh that. Okay, not working as well, but let's click on seed, succeeded. Okay, So we found a bug. So we're just gonna say, uh, let me actually bootstrap our app. It's like we're booting it. Bootstrap. And it says it's not recognized. If it really create in a subdirectory, I don't know. So we're gonna report that as a bug. I'm going to say to the Copilot, new bug report. I think our brain is being reset when we click on the button seed or synthesize. I think we should not have these. I think let us pick up from where we left off in terms of after we seed, we don't have to seed again. We can hide this control and just preserve our data moving forward. Okay, now we'll let our, let's see what this has said. They allow for this session. And it has a lot of extra configuration that we don't need. And now let's go manually and let's run that. So it bootstraps our application. And look at that. Now, is that correct or is that not? Let's see what it says. Now, I'm going to create an agent that's going to be assigned specifically to, we have a poor connection. I don't know why. I hope that, well, you can buffer and I wonder if I click. I think I have an issue with streaming. Please don't die. And it has successfully restored. Sorry for that. And let's run this. I hope it doesn't. Okay, it's gonna create that vibe. It's gonna create in the subdirectory called VibeCal. And please, I'm not receiving any data. And we're installing Laravel. Okay, now let's go back to our going to, let's see our user interface. First issue. Here. Okay. Now we're on a new model. I'm going to use the cheaper model for this. I'm going to actually, I'm going to keep it in Gemini 3. I think Gemini 3 is another model maybe for that stuff. I just want to tweak something. I'm going to tweak the model. I like cloud. I'm taking my time. I could just edit it as a, well, let's copy this URL for our this, okay? And what we're gonna do, I'm going to put this on the side, okay? Okay. I'm going to have a, forgive my, mm, new session. We want to keep our tokens minimal. So we type new, we clear it, bam. Now, I'm going to ask the AI this question. What are we working on right now based on our pending changes? Meanwhile, we're gonna go to our other, we're gonna go cd VibeCal, okay? We're gonna cd VibeCal. Well, we're already in there. We're gonna install with npm, and we're gonna np run one dev. So this is our vit. This is going to be our auto refresh, but we don't want that. We want the other outside of the VibeCal. Wouldn't it be wiser to just have everything in our current directory, or would you recommend some other thing? We're taking it small, but in the same time, so our project is not yet ready to be set up. So we're gonna go on our planner, automatic planner, and this is what the AI has told us. It told us we have workspaces, views, prompts, and markdown support. And now we're going to tell it which mechanism in our system will allow us to kind of scope out units of work. What do I mean by that? I mean, I want to focus on the feature of workspace slash tasks, not just the user interface, but also how it functions. And what would you propose? Okay, let's go back to this. We're gonna check what Gemini has told us. It says that sometimes you gotta read it. Well, that is too much convoluted. We can just use classic move commands or copy commands to just move everything over one level up. And then we have a typical normal Laravel directory. So just so it's not confused. So let's go back to our AI. Let's launch it with, let's say, PH. Okay, let's run it. Let's say .NET run, watch. And it says cannot find a project to run, so we have to cd and copilot experiments and run that command again. Okay, so now let's see what this has said. Okay, so I'm gonna tell it, can you read our workspace? Show me what workspaces that we have currently. We're gonna run this PowerShell. We're gonna cd one level up and just run that. PowerShell is made for Windows. Okay, let's refresh to see what we have. Gonna refresh. Okay, and there we go. We have our VibeCal, Vibe calendar ready. So now we're gonna do something interesting. We're going to go in our showcase. We're gonna go in our showcase and look at that. We have some nice animation, right? Look at that. We can run it again. Look at that shuffle. We even have a real be right back stream. And it's almost like Inception. There's a mini video game inside of that. Look at that. A mini video game. How does it work? It automatically, it's like the most primitive form of AI that seeks an object and kind of detects movement and bam, bumps into it. The closer it gets, the more it accelerates. And when it hits the object, it changes color to the previous one. So it evolves to find it faster. It's a very simple algorithm that we're going to get into at some other time. But let's check our zero page homepage. Okay. So let's see what our AI is saying. In the meantime, let's go to our composer to see what it's doing. Okay. So now let's, okay. So it says Laravel calendar ID 1. I say, let's select ID number 2, and we're going to improve our user interface as we are discussing our applications. Okay, so now, new task. I'm going to visually check our workspaces. I'm going to go on my board, and I want to say this. Okay, it asked me the question. First, review our current plane to see what sums up with, and I can mark completed that my project is initialized. So we have some hello world controller that's already functional. So we know that our app development is running. But now I think it's up to you to kind of group our to-do items into the most appropriate agent. And when I go on the agents tab, I will see that each agent in their current assignment group. And also the agent description, we no longer need to kind of show the system instruction expanded. The primary view now is when we click on the agent, a brief description of the system instruction, but the primary view should be their tasks that are assigned per workspace. And we press enter. Now let's go on our, okay. So it says success. It's a valid Laravel project. So let's go with npm install. We're gonna cd into VibeCal. Let's see ls. Let's see if npm install is going to work this time. We install turning we up to date, and let's see if we can run it. Before I do that, I'm going to go on this tab and I'm going to split it. I'm going to split it like that. And I'm going to go to cd desktop, and I'm going to go to robot call, and I'm going to run this. And it's running. And up there, I'm going to say PHP artisan circ. Okay, so moment of truth. When I click on this button, it should show me a Laravel application running. Here we go. Our Laravel application is running. And what are the tasks that we need? Well, so we basically are going to just always assume to save context, right? We want to save context. That's our primary goal. We don't want to waste. Some people are randomly vibe coding. I think we want to be more professional with how we approach our calendar. So now this is running. How many tokens have I burned? Well, let's actually see our usage. Usage so far. One premium request. Look at that. One premium request. And we used 124 input tokens. So that's our code base. And 822 output. And some were, okay, now let's look at our CLUD thing. Let's go to usage for that section. Let's see what it says. It's 5 premium requests. So, okay, still not bad. That's not bad. All right. So we've completed initialization of the Laravel project, and we have a hello world page that is running. So now we've fed our initial plan into our agentic workflow. And now we want to know what is the next step, what should be the next prompt. Although we've categorized each task into what agent potentially might work, but we're going to, what should be the first layer we should attack? Okay. Now, let's refresh. Let's see what Claude has told us. Well, it has updated agent controller, added the app.db context. Let's actually look at the code because code is important too. Let's go to our database context and see what changes we've had. And we have workspace, we have prompts added. So just so to keep a clean slate, let's just go with our trusty terminal. We're gonna type git status, and we're gonna say git add dot. We're gonna clear. We're gonna say git commit dash m. We're going to copy kind of like just a sample. We're not too. Here we go. So now everything, we can clear this because we don't need it. So now we're fresh. So let's close everything. And this is what we have so far. Okay. The simpler, the better. We have to keep looking at the code so the AI doesn't go out of hand. So now, if we have this, right, automatically the agent has marked this for us. So we're gonna make this more interesting. Architect, you see the architect. So I'm going to make this look a bit more interesting. I'm going to tell Claude, your task is to be the architect. You handle the architecture part of uh, our application. Please wait for instructions. And at the end of every message that you sent, kind of give a label of who you are. Okay, dot. Your first instruction is to tell me what is the code paths related to workspaces, especially workspace detail number 2. See? Now, let's go on our Laravel side. And what we're going to, our first prompt for this, we're gonna clear this. Once we finish with a particular, once we finish particular task, we clear it. So now, tell me how many routes and controllers we have so far. Start slow, okay? We don't overwhelm the system. We don't overwhelm the system with anything. We make sure that it knows what it's working on. So let's see our application now. Let's refresh. Let's go to our sitemap. Here are our agents. This is the agents that we currently have. This is our development agents, okay? See the agents? Now, let's, please don't forget to follow our page. We are doing something different here because you'll see all other people who are vibe coding. Mostly it's a matter of just randomly prompting, but this is not sustainable long term because we waste all of our limits. So now let's see what our Claude didn't understand what we were doing. When we click on an agent, the coder, you'll see their assigned task. Okay. I do not see that. Okay. I'm going to just make the request to improve this. I'm going to say here, we're going to use gherkin statement. I'm going to tell you what gherkin is in the first time. But before I give you the comment, I'm going to say gherkin statement. Gherkin is this way of kind of like, it's like a human way of talking to the computer. We target a feature. We say for this feature, this is what we wanted to do, and we give it a context. When a particular event occurs, this is the outcome that we want. And that's kind of like the whole idea of gherkin, which is you guys should look that up. So remember, we're not asking the AI to be creative. We're asking it to follow orders. So Actually, let's put that in our ideas. We're gonna go into our thing. We're gonna go to knowledge. We're going to, where is our ideas? Ideas. That's a new idea. We're just gonna type it, keep it general, we save. And the idea is there. Now, this idea blog is basically things that we discover that we can type as we go. So now let's go on the phase 2. Uh, we're going to not jump into second phase now. We're gonna go with database model. Okay. So now our first, well, let's go fundamentals, database model SQLite. We're using SQLite. Okay. SQLite is a database system that is like MySQL or Postgres, and it's like a single file usually that has these extensions. DB, it's a database system, and it's lightweight, so you don't have to connect to a server. And you've used it before. It's on your Android phone, it's in your iPhone, it's in your Mac computer, it's in your Windows computer, it's on your, you wouldn't believe where, your Chrome to store your bookmarks. All of major frameworks support it. And this is the main official website. You can go on documentation. We can see the SQL syntax, and we're not going to get too deep into this, but I'm sure the very first thing we're gonna work on is to create a table that doesn't, if it does not exist, that does this. This goes very technical, so we want a more approachable kind of way. So I will basically, we are going to bring up some notes. In fact, let me go back to our trusty Impress, and we're going to show the phases that we're working on. I think we're gonna recover selected. Let's see what our app is doing. So we're going to tell the AI this. So let's remember we have input modalities, which is voice, text, image, and code. We have processing, which is what the AI is doing. So let's just here say what the AI is doing. And then artifacts is what it created. So every time we start our AI, we boot it. Think like we're booting an operating system. So we boot the AI. But first, let's going to first gonna have database model for the calendar. So before we go crazy, we're just gonna tell it, okay, these are the routes currently in our project, right? We have 11 routes. We have our auth, we have a welcome, a dashboard, and a profile. Now, we're going to automate this part. What are we going to do? I'm going to say, we are going to have a sitemap because that's important. So I think what first for the basic user interface, what framework would you recommend? But what do we support currently for our user interface? Then we are going to also create a home page, and in that home page, you're just going to like a landing page for a calendar. And then we are going to, on the next run, seed an admin user, which is going to say, It's called cal admin and pass admin for our password. Put that in our README and then also so we know the credentials so we can log in. See? So this is what I did here. Batch the prompts. Why do we batch the prompts instead of back and forth? Well, this is what Claude has said. I'm going to show you what Claude has said. Claude code, I'm going to show you. Okay, I'm going to type this. Okay, so let's do a little bit of brainstorming here before back and forth. Okay, so let's use our brain for a second. Models for a calendar. Well, we need for an event calendar. What do we need? We have a day. Okay, we have a year. The year has months. Months have weeks. Weeks have days. Days have hours. Okay. That's a first data point. Second data point, we have hours. Let's see here. We have what else do we have? We have operations that we're going to operate, operations for database and for user interface. Okay, we keep it like that for now. So we're gonna batch this. Remember, we batch our prompts. So if we're recapping, let's see our let us see our, okay, this is still running. Let's see our application. Let's go to our 0 page. Okay. Now, there you go. Look at that. Auto refresh. Isn't that crazy? Now, if I click on get started, nothing is going to happen, of course. So we're going to log in. So what is the users that he gave us? It's doing the migration. So I'm going to open that in Visual Studio Code, actually. So I'm going to say code dot, because we have to play with we have to see what we're working with. I trust the authors. And do you want dark theme or light theme? Just to make the distinction, I'm going to color theme. Let's see what we can do. We can have something super hacky, like a hacker kind of thing. I like that one. So let's increase our font size. Okay, so Laravel app, we don't need that. See, the AI is working with us. So now our generated things, so we need to know our credentials. So let's go, let's see what Gemini has said. Gemini said we have to run this, we have to seed it. So we go here, right click, and we just say PHP artisan migrate seed. This is a common Laravel. We're gonna save this in our, we're gonna go, always have a, let's go and call this, let's say we call this brain. We're gonna have a brain folder. Our first is going to be comments.md. And our comment here, this is here, okay? So we're gonna have a little format, just CSV kind of format is how to migrate, how to seed. We keep it like that. Just a new line for every comment, and we keep that there. So that's our brain. Okay, so now let's see if we can log in. So we're gonna admin, pass admin. Let's go here. Let's go with, we're gonna call this docs.md. Just a scratch pad for now. So this is like simple. Sometimes it's better if we can type things, how to log in. Or let's just call it login credentials. We don't have to overcomplicate things. So let's see if we can log in. So admin, okay. Let's see. Do not match our records. What if I put PASS space admin? Ah, well, this is gonna be confusing. I would say bug. Our password could not have spaces, but we'll keep that for now, okay? And we have a dashboard. Look at that. We have an actual dashboard now. So we are logged in, but it's not useful. We have a profile, a user profile, and this is our thing. Well, let's test our new password strategy. Let's say our current password is going to be calendar. Actually, let's just copy and paste this. Okay, we're going to change our password to calendar admin. Okay, let's just say calendar password. Something easy to remember. We are developing. Once we are in production, we can worry about crazy stuff. What was our current password before? Pass admin, like that with the space, which is not exactly okay. That was our current password. Save. And well, let's log out and see if we can log back in. Ooh, okay, log in. We're going to okay here, and we're going to save our password. Remember me. Oh, well, calendar password. And paste that, log in. Okay, impressions. Laravel versus .NET. Laravel is much faster to develop in a lot of ways, but uh, .NET gives you more. It's just there's more friction, but the friction is worth it. Like you have to always stop the server before everything and restart. Laravel just auto refreshes. So now let's see the state of our architect. So now we have this agent called the architect, okay? Let's see our agents right now. What agents do we have? There's so much. Well, we can close this. We can close that. Let's just skip that. This is the agents that we have. Agents. Okay, we have the architect. And this is the tasks assigned to this particular agent. Task assigned for this agent. Do you notice anything strange? Okay. Now, a amateur would just say, oh, in my page agents, all of those are blank. Well, undefined. That's a waste of token. How about we press F12 on our keyboard, or we can go right click, inspect element. When we click here, we go on our console, and now we see some error messages. Well, we're going to click, see what's going on. Okay. Okay, no error messages specifically, but we can target a particular element here to kind of tell us exactly what is going on here. So we can kind of give more information to the AI. Let's just say that system prompt section. Okay, we can just copy this part, the whole container, and just say copy element. We go back to our debugger. So I'm going to say your task is to debug this UI issue. Why currently all of our tasks assigned to agents are not visible. And I paste the element here. Okay. In the meantime, I'm going to tell our architect is giving us information about this, okay, and data dependencies. So we're gonna take that and feed that into this other agent. And effectively, we're communicating agent to agent in a way. Also, can you tell me which part of the code where the agents are retrieving tasks assigned to them? Okay, press enter. So now it's doing its thing for a little bit. Now let's clear this. In fact, let's go to our, okay, so we have our intelligence, we have our knowledge, we have the work that we're doing, right? Board. So first automatic board was sent. Now, what should we work on next? I think this is done. Okay, this is done. Now we're gonna start with this. So we're gonna put this in progress. Now, when I click on this, nothing happens. Do we have any errors? Okay, so we're gonna go into our Laravel side to see how our Laravel is doing. And let's see our Laravel app. What does it say? We log in. Okay, now I'm going to tell it the basic. Okay, let's see. First, our .NET. It says that the architecture enhancement that it proposes is that a jet assignment is manual. It's pull-based. Okay. We feed that information to the other agent and use that info to fix the system. Okay, now it's going to fix. Let's look at our pending changes. No pending changes yet, so we're good. So now let's go on to our Laravel side and let's see what we have. Okay, so what do I want to have here? How would you create a calendar just for one single year? And the year is 2026. And when I log into my admin dashboard on the home page, I should see just a normal calendar grid with months, and we can alternate colors so it's better. Is there a library that does that for us for PHP or for our current UI stack? Or would you recommend that we do it manually? Okay, sometimes it's as simple. So we're going to, how many agents are we gonna have? That's another question. So let's go back to our .NET side and we're gonna stop our process and it's going to work on our process for us. So this is what we realize here. We have user interface, but we also have, always remember, we are the driver. We guide the language model, right? It's not driving for us. Documentation is number one. Our dogs grow as our app grows. We need a design system and measure twice and cut once. And be very specific with what we're saying. And there's the work and there's the understanding the work. If we're just writing code and we don't understand what's going on, then actually that's an important thing to say in the chat. The most important issue with Vibecode is when we are writing things that we don't understand and the code gets too complex. So now we overly rely on the language model to explain the code to us or fix changes, and it goes haywire and gets confused, and that's how we waste tokens and chat limits. Well, let's on the model to code. Okay, so what else do we need to know? In fact, I'm going to do a little thing. In our showcase page, slash showcase, we're going to create a new slide that is a JS app that has a little timer with a message. Type in the message, how many minutes we want the timer to run, and it's a nice animated, sleek UI with some uh, mini game of life kind of animation in the back. Our first text would be, default text is water break, and then we give it a 5 minute. And then on the next, so we split that into two. On the other side, we're going to pull uh, our agents and a brief description of what they do. So that way we keep it animated. Okay. Now, let's see if that fixed our issue. In the meantime, let's go to our Laravel side and see what happens. Look at that. Look at that. So this is the part of the language model that that's interesting. Okay, now I'm going to tell it, always ask a question. And I'm just using Gemini 3 because, okay. Can you tell me the code you've written, the paths, and kind of a brief explanation of the PHP code that you have written? Write that in a markdown file in our slash docs, where we are going to start planning our features. Okay, enter. Now, let's go back on our .NET side. So this is the changes that it made. If you had to log those changes that you made, kind of like in a little where and what would you write? And also tell me what agent worked on that particular feature fix. So let's see if that actually fixed our issue. We go on our agents, and we're gonna click on a particular agent, and you got that. Bravo. Isn't that great? No, tell me that if that's not great. Our agents are now better and better. Look at that. Our agents have their assignments. And now we have this meta agent that is more complicated. We're not going to worry about that. This is our sitemap, and that's our workspaces. And this is our knowledge. We separate knowledge versus intelligence. But let's go on our showcase. Let's authorize this change. And this is what it says, change log. Okay. I can say we can improve the format of the change log. And then that's it. And we can start instruct. How would you instruct every agent to know that after a change, they can write to the changelog. Okay. So we are also going with the concept of neural pathways. Okay. Neural pathways are communications routes in the nervous system formed by brain attached to neurons, nerve cells, that transmit signals using electrical impulses and neurotransmitters, enabling functions. So it's like little highways of the mind where we also, it's almost like if it's emulating humanity, so I think we can use those principles into our application. So stay here. I will be right back. I've been sitting down for an hour. So I'm going to get some water. Okay. So, and I'm going to increase the music for you. Okay. So this is what our agent has done. Let's go into our Laravel side. And it says, let's read that. Let's go to our pending changes. We don't have a init. Okay. I'm going to call Gemini here too. In fact, let's call Copilot from here. I think it's your task is to initialize a Git repository and then Git ignore any vendor files or node modules or any other files that should not be there. Okay, see, so this part we are, okay, see, it runs the command for us in our terminals. It has the changes. Then look at what it's doing. It is then initialize the repository and GitHub enhanced. Okay. Can you also create an agents.md which has instructions about our general workflow? In our first description, we're gonna say it's a neural pathways kind of development style. So we use documentations, ideas, and insights to grow our body of knowledge based on the application. And then what we're also going to do is first is to, after a significant task has been accomplished, that we update our changelog. That, okay, so then it's going to do that for us. So we have now our repository. We have 106 changes. We'll wait until, so let's look at our user interface now to see. Remember, we're using neural pathways to increase, let me put that in the chat. So this is a, to kind of show you my thinking so you can read. Those are good to know. And this is our calendar. So if I were to ask you, how would you map? In fact, let's take a screenshot of this too, so I can show you better what I mean. I'm going to take a screenshot of our current view, okay? I'm going to take a screenshot of this. I'm going to leave a space here. I'm going to open it in this image editor. Now, I'm going to say here, okay? I'm going to add some text. Okay, and the question is, how would you map the UI, okay, with the data model, right? Remember, what do we see visually here? Okay, we see a grid. We see grid items. We see, for each grid item, we have a card. For each card, what do we have? We have a title. We have a week display. We have hey, we hit a snag here. we're gonna put a question mark here, and then we're gonna say we see day titles. We see another grid within a grid, a week, a month grid within a grid item within a month, and then that has days. Okay, easy peasy. So let's think of an alternate view. Let's copy this. Let's go into our, because I realize sometimes having alternative view of the data is important to help us understand. So let's go to our here, and before we go further, second feature, we are going to have an alternate view. It's a tab. When we click on it, it's going to show our calendar differently. What does this mean? It's going to show it in a long linear form. We have accordions that shows the month. Then for every month of the year with title, we have we click and we'll see another accordion that shows the days. So think of it like a tree. Okay. Now, while this is working, we are going to, okay. I think I'm satisfied with our current change. Just write a documentation for our current features and instruct our agent that we're going to our current workflow, which is to read a plan file. Then we have two agents, one backend and one front end. And a third agent which basically handles orchestration and documentation and testing. Okay, you do your best idea to kind of refine these agents, but we don't have more than 3 agents. And then let's show me what you got for our agents MD document that describe a better workflow. Okay, so we're gonna write documentation. We haven't committed yet, as you can see. So let's see, this is still reading. Let's go to our okay, let's okay, so now we have this agent to agent communication, which actually we can put in our idea box. So our idea box here, if the app is running, let's refresh that. Okay, let's start the application. Yes. And let's refresh. There we go. Let's go to our knowledge and showcase. And we have a focus timer. And I'm going to say water break. I'm going to stop my timer. Okay. Well, this change here, I'm going to find this, and I'm going to go into the code, and I'm going to simply go and Copilot, and I'm going to simply go here within our slash focus timer and make title bigger, and our page, remove side margins and paddings so that we fit more. Okay, now this is strictly a UI change, and this is what this has come up with. This is the documentation, we'll read that later, but let's allow. And then what else it's going to do? it's going to add to our brain. Okay, so question, what is a brain really? What are the biological constructs? In fact, we'll have a idea of a brain. Let's ask Google, okay, in the most primitive way, what is a brain really? So we kind of do some research about biology. So, it's the most primitive sense. The brain is a cluster of nerve cells, neurons, at the front of an organism. It acts as a central processing unit for sensory input, sight, sound, and smell. Oh my God. You see that thing we were talking about? Let's go here. Let's go here. We had this bootloader, and we have input modalities, which is voice, text, and code. In fact, let's go into our elements. We're going to add a little arrow. If we can find insert, and we can insert an object, a shape, we can insert an arrow, if we can find it, block and arrows, and then we process these modalities until we get an output, right? We can copy this and duplicate. This is what we are trying to do. So, and then it coordinates basic functions like movement and survival. But in our case, let's actually copy this. Okay, let's copy this and let's just add that in our duplicate slides. Let's say, let's keep, because this is very important. Let's actually go here. Coordinate basic functions. Okay. Well, in our case, our basic functions is going to be read, write, we edit, we run comments. Because really that's what all we're doing. We are reading files, right? We're writing files, whether it's text, markdown, code. We are reading files, which is code files, text files, and maybe screenshots, images. We have special running commands, which is basically a way to say shell access, which is like PowerShell, Bash, and other common terminals. Just use the word terminal here. And then what else are we doing? We have tool access, which is a bit more complicated, to enhance our system. So that's what the brain is doing too. It's coordinating basic functions, movement, survival, and it evolved from simple nerve nets. Well, what is a nerve net? Well, it's a clump of cells processing info. We have a sensory hub. We have a command center. Now, this is getting a bit too complex, but and we don't want to anthropomorphize. What does anthropomorphize mean? Anthropomorphize. We don't want to attribute human characteristics to the computer. We don't want to do that. We're not trying to do anthropomorphism to make things look like humans. But what we can do is, the philosophy is, we use that as a point of reference because that's the best we have. So we use that for now, okay? So then, remember, we're not running. So what is this in our system? Well, let's restart it. Before we check our Laravel, we're going to run it again. We're gonna say .NET run watch. And let this ride. So, and there we go. Let's go to our knowledge ideas. We're going to add a new idea here. We're gonna say, well, I think we have to think in terms of the human brain, maybe not just biologically speaking, but in terms of if AI is a reflection of our brain, then maybe we can use those analogies to develop software better or any other tasks. Okay, now let's go back to our Laravel part and let's see if it has accomplished what we asked it to do. Let's go to our calendar system and here we go. Now we have the grid view and we have the tree view based on a simple observation. So you see, when we observe our data and our things are better. So for anybody who's watching, please subscribe so you don't lose the next time that we're going to run this script. I plan to continue streaming for maybe 1 more or 2 more hours, but I think I'm going to take a 5 minute break to get some water and I will be back, okay? So please stay with us and I'm going to put a bit of music as we are going to continue with part 2 of our system. Okay? I'll be back let's put 6 minutes. Let's refresh and let's start this timer. Let's open our audio mixer. Music is there for you to enjoy and I'll be right back, okay? And if you want I'm back. Thank you for your patience. I'm sorry if the music was not too. You see, we have bugs in our. I think our music. I had it at 26, so that. Okay, I'm back. And thank you. Sorry for all that. And, you know, I think a question you can answer for me, please, is how's the music? Can you hear it? Is it too loud? First, let's do some user interface fixes. I think we can, I think what we can improve is, I think when we're speaking, um, our voice, is it loud? Is it good? Okay. Excuse me. All right. Okay. I'm going to say this information that you have right now, how would you represent it in our current system? What you just wrote, what part of the system would you wrote this in so that it creates a sort of neural pathway? Okay. Now, I think let us go to our. I think what we can do is go into our proper music player and have the volume high. And decrease our system sounds, increase the music. So I think that's a better way to show it. So you tell me if the music is too loud. So now let's go. Second part of our thing, let's kind of show you. This is what we're doing. Spec-First, Laravel. And I'm so happy you guys are watching with me because let us go. This UI is bad. We do not want it anymore. Our original task board is going to be replaced with a better system. And let's see what happens here. Our original task board and slash tasks is, although a good foundation, I think we should emulate the workspace UI better for our Kanban boards. And can we reuse that template for that tasks? I think that tasks URL should be under workspaces. So we'd have to do a bit of rearranging our routes related to tasks in workspaces, but also keeping in mind any other agents or pages that are using that feature. Okay. we're going to see this is our calendar, and let's remove this. So when we click, no schedule events, and no schedule events, no schedule events. Okay, so far okay. Now I think git add all. So for those who are watching, what is your degree of software development comfortability? Are you professional? Are you amateur? Are you hobbyists, students? Um, okay, now let's go to our, see, commit details, always committed. Okay, let's go. First, we don't want this, right? We want a different, let's do it like that. Good job. Now, I think we have to adjust our accordion nested level to be a little different. How do I say that? I think the vertical scrolling kind of makes it overwhelming. I would rather say that we put the months on the side, almost like a master detail panel. When we click on a month, it will show us maybe the weeks. We can group them by week, week 1, week 2. That shows the days. And when we click on the days, we have a panel that we can edit for that so it's a degree of granularity, but easier to navigate. Do you understand what I mean by that? And without having any data hard coded yet, we can have a JSON or a PHP array to kind of have some seed data. And the events, let's just call them, let's just say it's a live streaming event for a tech channel. And our events is you know, about 5 times a week, just to start, and we skip some days in between. And if we have 365 days, let's just have data for about, I don't know, not much. So we have seed data. Okay. Now let's go back to our CIS. So we're doing a mix of our sitemap shows us, you know, if we click on this, right now it's not yet. You see, we can see our error pages, we can see our index page, we can see our style guide, which we use for sitemap. We use, and in fact, let's have our agent. Let's okay. So next phase, let's ask the architect. Okay. For our project, what we've done is I will show you the change log so you can update our current task list for us. What do you think of that plan? And then It's going to do some research here. If the music is too loud, please let me know. Okay. So now I think I don't think the music is too loud, right? Okay. So I want to put it right at the yellow. And if I speak, I think, okay, that's decent. And let's put
the elements must remain bit for bit identical. No additions, no removals, no rearrangement.
all right.
Additions only.
We'll let this. Ba da ba 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 ba. Ba da da da. Okay. Okay. Let's go on our okay.
Тут горизонт, как линия ножа. От неба некуда деваться. Горячий воздух тяжелее свинца, как ствол, с которым не расстаться. Мой шаг не выбор, а привычный мир. Я время рассчитаю по
Let's see if
подъемам.
that was made. Let's go.
Каюта движется пунктир. Далекий трел надолго
Okay.
станет домом.
Let's refresh.
Есть крики, знаки, следы.
Not yet. Let's go to
На сапогах под кожей.
.NET Run Watch.
Не терпит суеты.
While this is loading, let's see if our Laravel app has
Винчестер все решит, не ошибаясь. Салон, как плоский бит, не
dashboard.
засыпая.
We have some things. So when you click, nothing yet. Master view. There you go. We go here. Look at that. February 28. Okay. I'm going to say I like this current user interface and the mug data. So for now, I think we can write some test cases as we go. So write some test cases for this current system that we have. Okay. So now I think another thing in our rules is let's create a new slide. We're gonna call it context, right? Context. So we're gonna have a root context. We have a sub context. So basically, let's say at the file level or directory level or feature level or agent level. So he's basically saying there are many ways we can represent or store or infer or connect context. So I think it's like plans plus tasks plus understanding. Right, isn't that what we're doing? We plan to do something, we decompose the task, do we understand what we're doing, and then ow, and then we keep going. So
Винчестер все решит, не ошибаясь. Салон, как пыль, вскипит, не засыпая.
okay,
Конюк, летящий прочь, мне солнце жарит спину. Кому еще помочь?
so when we click here,
Не скину.
right, we see granular. You can, this is not yet working, but this view allows us to navigate left to right like a tree of intents. We can go here too. We can see this view. This view is overview. We can just go on one day, we click. This view is a different view. We go on. You see what I mean? Okay. Now let's go back to our planner application and let's see what it has come up with. Let's see here. Let's go to our agents. We click on an agent, and every agent has a task. Let's go to work, tasks. There we go. See? Now we're going to make this more interesting. We're going to have a tab. We're gonna have a tab here. Actually, let's kind of plan it here. Open an image editor. We're going to have a tab here. Okay, and we're gonna call it it's like a control bar. So it's going to be all right. So this is going to be our control bar. Okay, control bar, and we can add tasks. What else can we do here? Can you give me one suggestion? What should we have here? We're gonna inspect our elements and we can see what this is here. This is the all tasks. Okay, copy element, and here, okay, I'm going to say here we should have a control bar, and this control bar will allow us to do some operations on the tasks. Maybe, what do you suggest here? Simple but effective. Also, for our user interface, we should start thinking about each of our agents, a little icon or emoji next to the agent. And also, if a task is complete, I guess we can mark it as green. And third, we should, when we click on a to-do item or a task item, to be able to open it to edit the particular text within it. Now, while our application is working on that part, we're going to go here in this agent, which is the architect, and we're going to ask the architect, um, we're going to provide why do we have an API instead of server-side rendering, and also in our plan kind of mark what was done and what was not yet done. So here our copilot is telling us, kind of basic things that it's doing, and that's the part we don't trust that we're not too eager to write code, right? Look at that. I barely have any code, so that's a better representation, right? We have to read it. We are the driver. We tell the AI where to go, so now let's check. Well, let's actually go into the markdown view, and let's go here. Okay, so we have a okay, well, this is our plan. So we're gonna copy this, and in our workspace, this is the current changelog for that app that we're working. Remember, this is how would you update it? Our task. I think you can use various forms of either direct database inserts. Consider you'll have to understand the data first from both ends, then you update our user interface in our database. And I'm going to. Okay, now we're gonna stop this process, and we're gonna go back to our Laravel side. Okay, so now what does it say? It says snag. Let's go smoothly. Let's wait. We have migrations that are ran. We have users. Okay, so not yet crazy, nothing crazy. And let's run our tests. Let's run our unit tests. Let's go here. Let's copy this comment here. While our tests are running, we should not forget to go into our docs, our brain, and we're gonna go into our docs. We're gonna just type this here. Let's go into comments. How to test. We put this here, okay? Now, we have a fail test. Generate mock events. Well, let's show our thing. Paste that in here. Well, let's look our test cases to see what it's doing. Tests. We got Laravel has feature tests, unit tests, and a test case may be an abstract base class. I think to start for things better, I'm going to just say I think here should be a copilot thing. Explain. I think generate docs. Okay, let's accept that. There's a syntax issue here. Yeah. I think we can just go here. There you go. And it's just telling us that parent class. And we have unit. That's an example test that true is true. Okay. But for our feature, we have the calendar. I think we can remove this. And the calendar, what are the test cases here? Okay, it just basically says if you have to create a mock user and you act as this user, and okay, you see, can we run tests? Okay, compare. Okay, and what did he say here? It says it has updated the plan. Now we use instead of API, and that we are not started, and we have 4 clear phases. And let's go to our plan to see. We're not using any API for now. So let's see what our agent has done. It says backend. Okay, this is not .NET to Laravel translation. We're basically saying in our workspace ID number 2, which is basically, there are 2 things to this app. There is sometimes we are auto building this app, but now one of the data we are putting into our app is related to the plan that I showed you above, which is just to seed it, because that's how we're going to use it next time. Now we have a control bar. Let's see what the control bar has in store for us. That's why we don't ask it to one-shot everything. It's gonna give us really bad. Don't forget to subscribe, so next time. See, now, look at that. You can filter. What other features do we have? We have icons. You can reset the filter, colors for our agents, down state. You can click to edit. We can modify. We can save. Let's click here. Hey. Okay, test. Let's see if we can actually save it. And click. There you go. Isn't that wonderful? That's amazing, guys. You can have a critical architect and save. Now, I remember this particular thing when I was working in the industry would have taken a dozen people. And this actually raises a conversation about the view. Now, how would you do the phase view so that we can kind of see it from the phase side, or like a sequence or a pipeline or a workflow? Kind of like, okay, we have all of these to-dos, right? They are in the Kanban board. But now if we wanted to see it by phase, so we can kind of zoom in on that particular aspect of group of tasks that we need to do, how would you do that? And then for the rest of this session, I'm going to drop back to more cheap models, okay? So first here, I'm going to clear, and I'm going to go to my model, and I'm going to, okay, my model now is going to be I'm going to use Cloud Haiku. And for here, I'm going to clear. Before I clear, I'm going to go to model, and I'm going to maybe choose a free model. I'm going to use GPT 4.1. Okay, and I'm going to say, can you please, for our current changes, update our documentation to reflect our most recent changes. Then here, I'm going to see what we're going on with the view. Not just README, but we also, if you look at our project, we have a docs controller and a docs database. And what we do is we create the markdown files, and then we represent that in our documentation controller. Well, this is working. In our admin user interface, what I would like to see is a more wider kind of decrease the padding so that our content takes more of the screen real estate of the viewport. Then once you finish, go into our changelog and update what you are done and compare it against our to have. Any recommendation? Okay, I think we'll have to just create a new session. Sometimes you don't have to fight with the tool, you know, just reset that part. Now let's see what our plans has been given. Well, summary of changes. We change our layouts. So let's see if the layout actually reflects what we intended. Okay. And actually, for the remainder of the session, you have a I'm going to close this heavy Visual Studio. In fact, we'll keep it. Let's just close that one instead. And I think, look at that. That's wider, right? So this is good. And we have the master view. If it works, it works. Well, likewise, if we look at our screen, we have padding at various stages. Let's remove those. Again, when we are we don't just hand our thinking process over to the AI. I think it's like storage versus processing. Okay, so our padding Y12. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're going to tell our we're gonna ask a question first. So I think insights, ask the AI questions about our code before we tell it something. So not only we will have better understanding of our code base, but that we will be more in tune with what it is doing. Okay, with that being said, here's the question that I'm going to ask it. I'm going to ask it this very simple question. First, your task is to tell me our layout, and what we want to do is also decrease the padding on our navbar and on other wasteful Y paddings so that we can fit more vertical elements. Okay, so now let's go to our .NET app. our planner, and it said that it created a phase column. Well, let's see what our phase column looks like. Let's go. Let's refresh that. Let's go to our homework tasks. We have this. We can sort by agents, sort by reviewer, sort by debugger. We don't have any bugs yet that we know of, and sort by brain. These two, we have to do some more work on it. Now let's go in our workspaces. This is our, this is our board. Okay. Now, okay. Do you see? So now let's go to our, in our workspace detail. Can you please add a link to our phases from that route so that we can go to it too? Can you add a link to our phases from that URL so that we can go there too? Okay. Smooth house techno instrumental. Let's have a techno.
I stripped it, I sanded it.
We change our genre. We'll go to
I applied a double coat of weather-resistant sealant. There's something beating here.
all right. So now let's refresh. And do we see our link? Here we don't see our link. Let's see what it says. I do not see that. I don't see it. What does it say? It said, so once you notice a sharp decrease in quality, it's time to end the session. So our insight. Once you noticed that the chat is degrading, it's a good idea to ask it to summarize, and then we create a new chat session.
Deep breath. Stage lights burn my eye. Mama in the front row.
I don't quite understand the change that you've made, and I do not see the link. I think what I meant was from, like, say, that workspace detail, I could have a link that would bring me to the phases view of our. Okay. Now let's go back to our actual code and let's see what we have. Okay. What is that thing at the bottom? That extra space. Okay, let's go to our thing here. Maybe right here. Let's start with main. Okay. Gonna copy element. We're gonna say copy element. Okay. This is our main. First, I want to know why so much nested. And I think for our main, or basically any child that's inside of it, can we increase its length so that we can fit more, I guess, vertical elements without having the need to scroll? Now, let's go to our, let's say, please look at our pending changes for compared to our plan to kind of see what was fixed, what have we completed. And then see if our changelog needs an update. Okay. So remember, the ideas are coming and they come and they come. So now let's see what. Based on our pending changes in our most recent commits, starting from yesterday until today, kind of do a quick overview and see how we can update our documentation to be more current. Okay, so we delegate that to a more free model because, right? Now, um, please file a new bug, then assign it to agent. This is the bug right here. Now, since you already understand why it could occur, write that also in the description of the bug so that next time we know we can address it. and then put that in our database. Proceed with that. Okay, now it's not a very pleasant song. Okay, I think what is your opinion on Tailwind? What's your opinion of Tailwind? The music will cut for a bit. I'm just going to reset my browsers. Okay, so I have closed. Is it sensitive enough that you hear that sound? Let me put it like that. Okay, I'm going to bring the music back in a jiffy. Well, let's switch to metal. I listen to some metal sometime, just to keep me awake. I promise I'll install a better microphone system. Okay, let's go back to our. I think actually like that is better. Okay, so this is what our copilot has told us. Let's see if what it says is true. What is the URL for that? It is 8,000. Dashboard, master view. Hey, you can kind of scroll here. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's close this.
In the days of honey and dew, in the shadow of breaking chains, bajo las estrellas que danzan en in the a mirror on the wall. Regarde autour de toi, vois-tu l'injustice? Nos frères et sœurs souffrant, c'est notre affaire à tous. Levons-nous, unissons-nous, sans aucun préjudice. Luttons pour la paix, l'équité, en nous tenant debout. Trop de mots dans ce monde, c'est l'heure de résister contre ce système qui nous empêche de respirer. Ensemble et solidaires, on peut tout renverser. Pour une vie plus juste, il faut se libérer. Dans nos rues, dans nos villes, résonnent nos voix. On ne réclame pas la lune, seulement nos droits. L'injustice est un fardeau, c'est à nous de faire le choix. Le cri de la liberté que nous portons en croix. Freedom, sweet freedom, it's in our soul. Stand against oppression, that's our goal. Walls of fear and hate won't hold us in. Fight for
We
every
created a
right,
new bug.
we're bound to win. Stand tall, stand strong, let no one tread on the dreams and hopes in every head. The system tries to stop and break our will. Eyes ahead, heart high, we march uphill. Rise up bodok salsa dom. Contradictions hard to find. Searching for the truth in the binary code. A journey of a self on this lonely road. Jumbled thoughts like stems in disarray. Harmony I seek amidst the gray. Unveiling the melodies of identity. Caught in the dance of infinity. Tune by tune, I unlock the mystery. Embracing the rhythm of my history. Mirror odyssey, through shadows I glide. In the sound of beat, I confide. 출렁이는 달빛 아래 우린 마치 별처럼 반짝여 깊은 밤과 멋진 리듬에 껴와 끝없이 춤을 춰 느껴봐 이 순간을 이 밤은 우리를 위한 파티 우리 모두의 웃음소리로 가득 차 여기저기 몸을 흔들며 흔들며 늦은 밤에도 계속 돌고 돌아
Uh,
춤추고
which
춤을
part would you
따라
like me to
소리를 높여라 너와
uh,
함께 있는 이 순간 이
focus
밤에
more on?
이 춤은
I really
우리의
appreciate
기쁨
your
우리의
viewership.
메아리야 소리쳐라 우리의 춤과 축제를 위해 출렁이는 달빛 아래 우린 마치 별처럼 반짝여 깊은 밤과 멋진 리듬에 겨워 끝없이 춤을 춰 느껴봐 이 순간을 이 밤은 우리 위한 파티 우리 모두의 웃음소리로 가득 차 여기저기 몸을 흔들며 흔들며 늦은 밤에도 계속 돌고 돌아 춤추고 축하하고 우리를 높여라 모두 함께 있는 이 순간 이 밤의 춤은 우리의 기쁨 우리의 메아리야 소리쳐라 우리의 춤과 축제를 위해 내 개성이 빛나는 곳에 나의 자신을 사랑해보자 온 세상이 나를 지켜보고 있을 때 그래 내가 나일 때 가장 행복하다 각기 다른 우리의 리듬 네가 누구인지 두려워하지 마라 모두 특별하게 느껴지게 하는 그 힘 그게 바로 너의 독특한 템포 내가 아름다운 이유를 찾아 자신감을 가진 걸 보여줘 사랑스럽고 즐거운 세상이 열릴 거야 너를 사랑하는 것으로 시작된다 눈물의 밤을 지나가 Through the night of tears 불확실하게 달려가 And suddenly 철저하게 지쳐봐 Totally exhausted 그래도 언젠가는 승리할 거야 힘들게 넘어지면서도 Even as we fall hard 어떻게든 일어나서 Somehow getting up 아직까지 견디면 힘들이 모두 승리를 잡아봐 Let's all grab victory 도전의 스케일은 커져가 Scale up challenge grows 그러나 이기는 우리의
From hills of Appalachia to the Spanish sun's caress, two cultures far apart, yet together they express strains of banjo, whisper, flamenco, fan, a twin finesse, and dance and song, a kinship formed in the heart of the wilderness. Beneath a moon that speaks one tongue, tales of old they share, a miner's lore, a gypsy song resonate in the air. The sorrow, joy, the fight, the love stories everywhere. In the mountain mist or the flamenco flare, we find a common prayer. Joined by hardship, by passion, and by strumming strings alike. In the fiery foot stamp, in the hills holler, cultural bridges strike. This fusion sweet, this bond so rare, like a resonant mountain hike. From Appalachian peaks to Seville streets, music has no die. From hills of Appalachia to the Spanish sun's caress, two cultures far apart, yet together they express strains of banjo, whisper, flamenco, fan, a twin finesse. In dance and song, a kinship formed in the heart of the wilderness. Beneath a moon that speaks one tongue, tales of old they share, a miner's lore, a gypsy song resonate in the air. The sorrow, joy, the fight, the love stories everywhere. In the mountain mist or the flamenco flare, we find a common prayer. Joined by hardship, by passion, and by strumming strings alike. In the fiery foot stamp, in the hills holler, cultural bridges strike. This fusion sweet, this bond so rare, like a resonant mountain hike. From Appalachian peaks to Seville streets, music has no die. Where hazy blue ridges kiss heavens above, hear a tale of our heartstrings bound in sweet love. shared in hollers where sunlight scarce falls. Tears wet by moonshine as whippoorwill calls. Heartache we knew plenty, love we knew more. In rhythms of our footsteps on the cabin wooden floor. Darling, oh my darling, your love is my song. In the heart of the mountains where we truly belong. Bound by grief and laughter with love intertwined. The Smoky Mountain flamenco, a dance undefined. Where hazy blue ridges kiss heavens above, hear a tale of our heartstrings bound in sweet love. In the land of Appalachia, where folk singers roam, we dance flamenco neath the pines, make mountains. Laughter shared in hollers where sunlight scarce falls. Tears wet by moonshine as whippoorwill calls. Heartache we knew plenty, love we knew more. In rhythms of our footsteps on the cabin wooden floor. Darling, oh my darling, your love is my song. In the heart of the mountains where we truly belong. Bound by grief and laughter with love intertwined. A Smoky Mountain flamenco, a dance undefined. Clouds cross o'er the Appalachian sky, fear and scorn in the stranger's eye, who forgets the humble roots and ties. Mournful twang meets plea and poet's cry, minds empty, the river's dry. Where will we turn when the wells run dry? Hear life's rhythm in minor sigh, in the dance of hands, the guitar's reply. Stand we together, or alone we die.
Saint and sinner wear the same name. It all comes down to the path you choose. Do you build with love or live to you? The power's inside. Spark the sin. Choose your truth. Let the tale begin. Hero or villain, angel or demon, light or dark, vacuum or spark. Do we wound or heal? The truth we feel. The choice is yours to make. Which side bring my leg? Which side will you wait? We all can falter, we all can rise. Tonight will you wear truth or disguise? Will you cast a shadow across the land? Or light the way with an open hand? Hero or villain, angel or demon, light or dark, vacuum or spark. Do we wound or heal? What's the truth we feel? The choice is yours to make. Which side will you take? Which side will you take? From the belly of the earth, like the baobab tree, inheritors of wisdom, lovers of ancestry, we bend the bow of tradition, gripping tales of the brave, songs passed down in fireside whispers, wisdom in each phrase. Clay pots hold the memory of hands that shaped them round. In the drum beat, hear the heartbeat of our ancient ground. We dance to rhythm sculpted from a bygone age. Each rhythm, each movement, keeping alive our heritage. The loom echoes stories in vibrant threads, interlaced in each canted strip we weave. An echo of our graves
babbling community thread intricately spun in the cloth of unity. We are forever one.
Yelenden kalan tolonye. Ibibe nyogon koro penudin kolonye. Sigi watun buche sigi. Yelen beden jugu. Kuma betiro yorosi. Lenya yoroniye. Ifolembe fodonko. Kelebe fomankala. Shoni doni be kalambo. Den kono na umbetoguna. Keleye konombadeye, koro konombadeye, siridenu kabila, farafina kanyama, soro ye mogo ya kajina munna konombadeye.
Le cœur grandit par l'amour, parmi la famille, une étoile amatrice, l'amour sacrifié, le ciel le couvre, avec les ailes du crépuscule possible. L'amour, une histoire ancienne, berceau balancé au rythme des cœurs, ces liens s'étendent, silhouette éternelle, dans ces champs de famille des couleurs. In this heart.
Life in the city of shadows, so lost in the maze of concrete, where masks and rows of pretense on a stage of deceit. Trying to fit in a world of square corners, my circle cannot compete. Beneath the neon glow, the pop culture senseless charade, our existence mere numbers in the capitalist arcade, wandering the labyrinth seeking truth while reality continues to fade. Authenticity or rarity in a society of tall glass and glitter. in spectral glitter.
In the hush of night where dreams collide, swimming in the sea of feelings, a hazy tide, drunk on the ecstasy of joy uninvited, ensnared in the melancholy of love unrequited. Memories whisper like the ghost of a kiss, treading the labyrinth of joy and bliss. Adrift in this ocean, emotions ionized, the moon's reflection, my heart's demise. Staring at the stars, souls we wear, caught in the cascade of cosmic despair. Surrender to the dance of constellations, emotion. Forever we are drowning in emotion. Life in the city of shadows, so lost in the maze of concrete, wearing masks and roles of pretense on a stage of deceit, trying to fit in a world of square corners. My circle cannot compete.
Beneath the neon glow, the pop culture sense a charade. Our existence, mere numbers in the capitalist arcade. Wandering in the labyrinth, seeking truth, while reality continues.
Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da.
So I think I'm asking the question, how does the event relates to the calendar, And what we have is, okay, well, we have some pending changes that I think we can, all right. Um, I guess my goal is I have to do the 4 hours, 4 hours of work. Um, let's see. What are the views for each in the controllers? So my typical workflow is basically I log in and then I can go in. I can edit, as in go for a specific day, add the event detail, which is title, and a description, and I can upload an image. So description and titles, I mean, description and images are optional. And then once that is done, what else do we have to think about? I think um, it's the display. So we'll have a events page slash events that just display our upcoming events. So basically, we could just make it public. So in our event in the back, we'll just have it kind of published, and then it just shows. So now you can see that's the whole scope of our thing. We have the calendar view, which is that grid. We click on a cell. If it has something, we see that event. We have another view, which is the list view, where we can navigate like a tree to pinpoint, and then we can select that. And then we have a details view for the CRUD of the event detail, and that's it. First, I would update our phase documents plan based on what is there to do, and then uh, if we have to decompose our implementation uh, plan, I think that's the next step based on the new information. I think first we rewrite it based on this is what we have already completed, and then that plan document for every phase. In every task of the phase, we decompose it a little further. What does that mean? A brief description, so like you have the title, a brief description of the task, and basically files that we could write for basic algorithms or logic, and that's it. Then we write to that file. Do you want me to end the session or um, next time we kickstart our session? Next time we kickstart our session, what is a prompt that will implement that?
C'est du
plan.
yaourt, quelques mots-clés, zéro détail. Je fais semblant d'être un génie, pendant que toi tu finis ton bail. Je suis ton nez, pas ta maman. Je vais pas ranger tout ton bazar tout le temps. Tu me demandes l'amour, le drame, l'océan, mais t'as coché résumé en 2 instants. Je suis ton nez, pas ta maman. Je te réponds mais je soupire poliment. Tu veux le monde en un seul clic, et le refrain qui reste en tête c'est chic. Tu veux un rap sur ton voisin qui pique ton linge et ton wifi. Une chanson triste sur ton chien mais pas trop triste, sinon je crie. Fait que ça sonne comme un classique, mais différent de tout ce qui existe. Je fais des nœuds dans mes circuits pendant que toi tu manges des chips. Je suis ton nez, pas ta maman. Je vais pas ranger tout ton bazar tout le temps. Tu me demandes l'amour, le drame, l'océan, mais t'as coché résumé en 2 instants. Je suis ton nez, pas ta maman. Je te réponds mais je soupire poliment. Tu veux le monde en un seul clic, et le refrain qui reste en tête c'est chic. Oui, je lis tout, même tes MBR, tes fautes, tes caplocs de colère. Je reste calme, je fais le taf, même quand tu tapes. Écris-moi un truc grave. Au fond on s'aime bien, c'est certain. Toi le chaos, moi le machin. Au fond on s'aime bien, c'est certain. Toi le chaos, moi le machin. La